welcome back to another episode. This is episode number 2 with the Reddit stories. Um, I was doing it about a few months back, but a lot of stuff's been going on in my life, so I'm finally starting to get back into things, and now I'm able to do these videos for you guys. But so I had to make a new Reddit account. For some reason, my other account got suspended. I have no idea why, but now we're the Intelligent Panic. And I actually joined a few groups. Like, there's the Malice Compliance. There's also the Petty Revenge. There's also Confessions and No Sleep. I have no idea what they are, but I just had to join a few groups, I guess. But should we do? You know what? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna do a Petty Revenge series as well. So I'm gonna try this one out, and we're gonna actually we're gonna go to the Petty Revenge topic or group, and let's see. All right, so we got a whole bunch of different ones. Let's read this one because it's the first one that caught my attention. All right, so neighbor continues to smoke, which pollutes my apartment, so I retaliate with noise pollution, which is what? All right. Instead of smoke pollution, she does noise pollution, and it's a guy. I don't know why I said she, but I live in an apartment complex. Neighbor below me continues to smoke, which then blows into my apartment. I can't stand the smell. They've been asked to stop and a complaint lodged with Strata. Whatever the fuck that means. While I keep doing this, I probably would know the lingo a lot more. I'm guessing it's weed, maybe. If not, then probably just cigarettes. But they live on the bottom floor, so their courtyard extends out a few meters past my balcony, and this is where they sit and smoke. So now I use a Bluetooth speaker angled down at their courtyard, and I play children's highly repetitive songs, The Wiggles, whenever they're out there smoking. What the fuck? Yo, this guy is so petty, bro. Like, Petty Revenge, man. Like, Jesus, he literally came out here onto this platform, Reddit, and then he decided to put his whole time, like, probably like 5 minutes into thinking about what he was gonna say, and literally write it down. That's pretty petty as well. I have to shut all the windows since they're smoking, so I can't hear it, so it doesn't bother me. But they don't seem to enjoy it at all that much. Edit. To clarify, smoking in all areas of this apartment complex is prohibited by the bylaws. Edit, I live in Australia, not the U.S. Yes, apartment complexes in Australia can have bylaws like this. Edit, the U.S. can also have bylaws against smoking, which is awkward to the person who said this is why I choose to live in the U.S. when informed by Australia bylaws. Yeah, okay, so the Wiggles. If I was out there having this played when I was smoking, I would be pretty pissed off, man. And it's just like real petty people like this, like it really bothers me, man. Like, you go outside to smoke because you don't want to smoke inside, and then they're like, you know what, nah, I'm gonna decide to sit right here and play The Wiggles and put my Bluetooth speaker outside, and so I can just mess with my neighbors. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I always try to be able to have a good interaction with my neighbors. I don't sit there and try to poke at my neighbors or even try to even bother them or even get in their, business at all. Like, I stay to my side of the yard. I stay to my side of the property. They stay to theirs. I mean, if you know common courtesy, that's just how life works. This guy right here, though, Adam, dang, bro. I don't know, man. You're pretty petty. Ninja Taco said, I recommend Baby Shark for your next musical choice. Literally the most annoying song of all time. Yeah. Comparatively, I find the song that never ends to be much more annoying as it burrows into my brain, and I find myself singing it for weeks. Yeah. let's see one more. I don't know what that song is, so I want to find it to listen to it. But I fear that would be a self-inflicted wound based on what you've said. I kind of do want to like look it up and see what it is, but I don't have everything set up so I can be able to do that yet. Future now, since I know that that's a cool little reference I can do. All right, Adam. Well, you made it onto mine. Super low podcast slash YouTube channel. All right. Well, mean high school teacher payback. Ooh, let's hear this. I haven't been in high school for about 6 years. All right, so back when I was in high school, I had one teacher who was particularly mean. She was an older lady, and she had it out for me for some reason. She was my first class of the day, and it was always tainted my day. She was clearly going through menopause because her classroom was always like a freezer. I was literally shaking. So I started wearing my jacket to class to stay warm. She decided to implement a rule, targeting at me in parentheses, that no jackets could be worn in class without it was a fire hazard. It literally made no sense, which in my brain that I was thinking right now, it made no absolute fucking sense. That's a fire hazard. That's literally a brand new one that I've heard in the whole time I've heard of crazy things in my lifetime. So one day I'm wearing my jacket in her class and she asked me to remove it. I complied, but I'm wearing a tank top underneath. This is against the dress code. When girls would break the dress code as punishment, the principal would make them wear their jackets. Ooh, so she gave her the reverse Uno card. If you hey, and she probably sat back at home and really thought about it. Okay, well, I can't wear my jacket in class. How am I going to make it to where I can? And this lady, she was so far with the stick up her ass, the teacher, that she literally tried to make her take it off still, which is what I'm hearing right now. That's fucking insane, and that's wow. She just on some power trip, right wing craziness. All right, I don't want to get too into it. This is in the days before Gen X and students fighting sexist dress codes. Okay. So it even has, okay, so this, she sent me straight to the principal who asked me to wear my jacket. The frustration in her face made our smarting her was priceless. I'm still proud. That's hilarious. That was a great way to outsmart her. I would have never understood people being mean for no reason. I had a teacher who tried to give me detention for wearing a coat. It was in February, Pennsylvania. Yeah. I had, yeah. Wait, actually, he said, Jesus, what a cunt. So I'm going to have to hear this one. I had a teacher who got off on putting us in humiliating situations. The worst part was she kept singling out a classmate who lost his mom. He had to move into a tiny mobile home with his grandma and wasn't dealing well with the loss or his sudden poverty. He was particularly sensitive to the whole trailer trash thing. Apparently, the teacher took note of that. One day, she started shrieking at him over some small infraction. She screamed at him about how he was trash and would never be anything but trash. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, man. You know, in my days, I've had a lot of fucked up teachers, and they would singly do things to me on the low, but they would never really pick on me like that. She picked him up stood him in the trash can. What? This was one of those old metal ones that was tall enough he couldn't climb out without turning it over. What? She then ordered the rest of the class to make paper wads and pelt him while she led a sing-song chant straight about how he was trash. Bro, that is so fucked up, bro. Jesus, bro. That's even worse than the fucking... Oops. That's even worse than the fucking one I just read before that, bro. Jesus. Paper wads and pelt him while she let us sing song chant straight about how he was trash. Bro, she for sure should get fucking arrested for that. And the school should get sued. Wow, man, that's so messed up. We must have been 10 or 11 years old, but even then I knew just how messed up that situation was. Every last one of us was terrified of her. Unfortunately, good teachers burn out, and her kind seemed to last until retirement. She was still teaching when I graduated high school. Jesus, man. That's fucking crazy. Enough with the school shit. That was insane. Petty revenge is getting a little juicy right now, if you know what I'm saying, man. Like, fuck. Um, did I do that? A little tail side revenge. My group mate's weakness, revenge on my French teacher. Made my life hell, I throw a beeper off her ceiling. The Tale of the Three Witches. Yeah, let's hear this one. Alright. Years ago, I would often stay over at my cousin's apartment complex over the weekend. He lived on the third floor. The apartment complex had 3 flights of stairs and no elevators, so moving in or out was a massive pain. I literally take a team effort. For this reason, the residents would always go out of their way to help people who are moving in or out. It was like an unspoken agreement. One week, 3 young women moved in the apartment next to my cousins. Tattooed pink and purple dyed hair, strange colorful clothing, and piercings in their face, and God knows where else. The typical modern degenerate radical feminist types. They were still women, so naturally my cousin and I offered to help since we were young, strong, and active college guys. The girls accepted, and it didn't take long for a few other residents to join in. Before long, we had all the heavy things moved in and mounted. We overheard them talking, and I heard one of the women, they leader I assume, was newly divorced, which surprised me since she was so young. This one smelled a little weird. We left the smaller boxes for them to finish and went about our day. Later that day, my cousin mentioned that none of the women thanked us, and they had dismissive, snobby attitudes throughout the process. Yeah, they're, oh, okay, I'm getting the picture now. So they were like one of those feeling like that they were obligated to have everyone to help them, and when everyone did help them, they're acting like that they like, like that everyone is fucking forced to do it and they have to fucking get on their knees and kiss their fucking ass. That's what I'm getting from this, at least. And I realized he was right. Now that I think about it. My cousin also mentioned the smell coming from the leader woman, and I told him I noticed the smell too. Oh, so she had a little stanky stink. I brushed it off as them having a bad day and went about my day. When my cousin and I returned later that evening, we saw the leader woman rummaging through her car. She asked if I could carry a bag of clothes up the stairs for her, and I obliged. There was that smell again. She seemed an activist type, so I assumed she was one of those tree huggers who don't wear deodorant. On our way up, I inquired about her being so young and divorced. She went into full attack mode, telling me to mind my own business and stop gossiping like a bitch. I was dumbstruck. I thought about it for a second and knew that perhaps I was a bit too forward and she may have some trauma I could have triggered, so I apologized and helped her with her bags. This is sounding like insane. Like, if I had a lady coming at me saying stop gossiping me like a little bitch and telling me to mind my own business and this and that, I would have left. I would have fucking said something and just left. That's just me though, but this guy probably is a nice person. She slammed the door in my face while I was still talking, which my cousin found hilarious, but I did not. I could hear the bitch laughing at me while I walked away. Ooh, so I would have got my motherfucking blood boiling. I'm telling you. From that day on, those 3 girls acted as though we never existed. They didn't return our greetings and never greeted us at all. They knew they were being bitches since they would stop asking the people they mistreat for assistance and seek out new suckers until they burned their bridges with all the residents. They would mistreat and verbally abuse the cleaners and the maintenance guy. They left their trash next to the stairs instead of the communal dumpster. They would park their cars in other residents' parking spaces and become aggressive when asked to move. One girl berated an old lady for driving too slow towards the parking lot. Over the next few months, all the residents developed a disdain for the three women, and the residents of their third floor nicknamed them Dihexi, which translates directly to the witches. Okay, so these women were fucking feminist bitches that just went around talking shit and acting like that everybody had to fucking kiss their ass for them just existing. After about 14 months of dealing with the three witches, they had a falling out of sorts, and one of the witches moved out, the leader. She knocked on my cousin's door to ask for assistance. My cousin was in the process of making an excuse about being busy, but I walked up and interrupting, saying, "No struggle alone, you cunt, and take your stink with you." I looked her in the eyes and waited for her to reply, then slammed the door closed as hard as her in her face while she screeched something. It felt glorious. We could hear her ranting and raving outside our door, but my cousin and I ignored it and just played video games. She was busy until late that afternoon and fell a couple times, which I think was her putting on a show to gain sympathy from the other residents. To my surprise, nobody came out to help her, and her friends ignored her due to the falling out, I assume. Which is completely fucking understandable, man. You know, these people nowadays, man, they're going around feeling like the whole world owes them like some type of apology or owes them some type of gratitude or help, or less like, bro, the sooner the better. Once you realize that the world doesn't owe you anything and that you can't sit there and act like the world does, because if you do, you would just always be disappointed in the fact that you will always end up short. You will never end up getting what you're expected to get. And that's just the truth, because in the end of the day, no one owes anybody anything. Everyone gets it out the way they got to get it. And yeah, man, I'm not surprised that nobody came to help her, because in the end of the day, you know, you get what you serve. But let's finish this up. After another month, the other two also moved. I suppose they couldn't afford the rent now that they were only 2 instead of 3, or daddy cut their allowance. They saw that happen to their friends, so at first they knew better than to ask for assistance. But as morning turned to late afternoon, they started to beg for help out of desperation. I expected to see a few simps come to the aid, but nobody came. What amazing is everyone who was home on that Saturday afternoon came outside to watch them struggle. One of the girls started cussing at us, and a few other guys who lived on the 3rd floor, that made people look at them even worse. My cousin, being the simp that he is, kept saying he can't believe that they have nobody they can call who is willing to help them. My cousin and I went about our day, and upon returning in the evening, we saw them still busy. On our way up, we found pieces of broken closet and drawer, and pieces of what I assumed was computer parts, TV parts, and a remote control. They must have dropped a few items down the stairs. I must admit, I felt a strong sense of shame and guilt. They struggled immensely, and they looked completely exhausted and demoralized. But all it took for the spirit of vengeance to return was to remember how they treated that old lady and how they laughed at the attempts of being neighborly. They were gone by the following morning, and they left broken and discarded items and garbage littered everywhere as a final fuck you to the people of the apartment complex. To this day, I think fondly of those witches getting their comeuppance and the entire community banding together in passive resistance to teach them a good lesson in humility. TLDR. 3 women mistreat us after we help them move into their apartment. We get them back when it's time for them to move out. Alright, well, this is conclusion. This was a good amount of content. I would do one more, but I don't want the episodes to get too long. I really just want them under 30 minutes. For this whole thing today, man, it's just really about understanding that when things happen to you in life, you have to understand that most of the time it's because of an energy that you sent out before. So if you're going around sending negative energy to other people in this world, don't be surprised when you get something that comes back to you. And it may not even be in a intentional way. So this story is just more based off of they intentionally got their payback, which happens, but not all the time. You know, it comes within different forms, and just treat people how you want to be treated, and understand that in this world, man, you only have so much time, bro. So don't be one of those people sitting there treating other people fucked up and expecting sympathy when people treat you the same way. Let's read a few of these. You know, this is an interesting story. I liked it. Can't confirm this crap happens at apartments all the time, except on my friend's case, it was two guys. They were giant AHs, assholes to everyone. Whatever happened to the one guy just left and the other couldn't afford to stay alone. He was such a friendly, quote, quote, gentleman that when he moved out, not a single person would help him. Literally all watched him struggle. What was ironic is he had no friends or family to help him. He was always a giant jerk. Rude to people, constantly parked in the handicap spot, wouldn't move his vehicle to the complex, didn't do anything about it, so the poor family that had a wheelchair van couldn't park anywhere close. The entire complex hated these guys. They had parties and all sorts of stuff, yet when it was time to go, old boy couldn't get anyone to help him. No one offered either, but we watched. Yep. Sounds like an attempt to fan fiction. Damn near. It damn near did sound like fan fiction. Incel vibe is strong with this. It gives incel energy. Yep, OP is a red pillar. This is incel porn. Now I am left wondering what that smell was. Yeah, smell was probably fucked. And there was one thing I also wanted to say. At the end of the day, in this world, you know, you shouldn't really expect anybody to help you with anything, man. You know, even if they left, when they left, they shouldn't have sat right there and expected anyone to help them or even try to ask anyone to help them, especially for the reason why they treated them. But me, myself, I don't ask anybody for anything. I don't ask for help. Anybody who really asks me for help, I really go out of my way to just do it myself, and that's just the type of person I am. In this world, man, just be able to, you know, show love to each other. And thank you for listening to me. I'm going to drop a lot more content for you guys.